DJGamers.com.
Now, we won't go too much into the CE version because we'll save that more for a Dreamcast. Now, the idea here is that you're on rails and you're shooting at other enemies that are coming at you. You're kind of like a dragon rider. And I'm going to use a smoke bomb. Looks like you got a boss, Luke. This is the fourth game in the series. There were two rail shooter-like ones like this, and Panzer Dragoon Saga, which was a very, very late release Saturn game, which is ridiculously expensive now and extremely hard to find. This is also the only Panzer Dragoon game that was not developed by Team Andromeda, who worked on the other three. But Smilebit actually had many of the former Andromeda team members, so. Now, more on the relationship between Microsoft and Sega. When Sega decided that they wanted to cancel the original, or the Sega Dreamcast, they were talking to Microsoft to make a lot of exclusive games for them. They ended up making 13 titles, at least in the early days of the Xbox, and there was even a Sega pack-in game, which I believe we're going to take a look at today. The Sega GT Jet Set Radio Future, which was packed in with the Xbox. It also exclusively got the sequel to Shenmue. This one, as you see. I believe Crazy Taxi 3 was also an exclusive for some time. And it pretty much just kind of benefited Sega to be kind of in there with Microsoft. I don't know if that was maybe a part at Sony, who they eventually still ended up making a lot of games for. But I think at first it was kind of that knock to Sony and see if they could knock them off their pedestal, since they had just put them out of the hardware business. Now, as you can see, you get different looks in this game. You can kind of change the angle in which you're shooting from your dragon. So you can kind of shoot in all four directions, but yet you really don't control where the dragon flies. It's an on-rails experience. Another cool thing about this game was, for the Japanese release, there was actually a special edition Xbox created for it. It is one of the rarest and hardest to find Xboxes, because they only made 999 of them. There wasn't. It was just a quick production, and it was the limited edition console. Now, we've seen like a Mountain Dew Xbox, which is also kind of limited edition, so there's quite a few different limited edition Xboxes out there, kind of like the Halo one, various other ones. Now, what else did we want to say about this, Luke?
I was trying to remember what the special was. So...
is it X? Possibly?
No, that's the forward thing.
Yeah, you can switch your different wing types as well. But yeah, we'll actually be taking a look at quite a few Sega games during our look here. And you'll kind of see where Sega had planned to go with the Dreamcast, just couldn't get it done. I mean, a lot of these earlier games look like they were originally developed on Dreamcast, and even games like Shenmue 2 were developed on Dreamcast and even released on Dreamcast in Japan. So it also tells you that the Dreamcast and the Xbox kind of had some kind of similar architecture to where they could work together as easily as they could. There really didn't have to be too many changes made. But if you like a good shooter, nice on-rails experience, this is definitely for you. So I would say give this a shot, take a look at it, and have some fun with it. As you can see, we have a nice pretty cutscene here. Even though you can't understand a word they're saying, thank you, subtitles.
Yup. Good thing it's not in Cantonese. That would be bad.
Alright, we're going to take a look at another game here. Something a little darker.
Peachy.
Alright, everybody. Moving on here, now we're taking a look at Doom 3 from id Software. As you see, id Software.
Yes. I wonder if they decided to go with that because of the id, you know, part of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Well, that's probably where the name came from. I'm pretty sure that that had something to do with it. And it was brought to us on the Xbox by Activision.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't brought to us on any other console.
No, this was an Xbox exclusive. Now we, as it showed in the intro there, Vicarious Visions actually did the port, and it did the original encoding. So, you would just hop into the game there, Luke? Or it's loading, please wait. Okay. Now, this is also a game that had some multiplayer. I'm actually going to take this opportunity here to tell you about Xbox Live. The service that Microsoft provided that kind of set them apart in the online gaming arena and really brought it... The Dreamcast kind of brought it to console gaming for mainstream, and then the Xbox perfected it. Because what they would do is they would sell you a starter kit, so you had a microphone, you had like the way to play it, and you would just hook it up to your broadband internet connection. Now, something to mention on that is that the PlayStation 2 offered dial-up and broadband, whereas Xbox Live required you to have broadband just because they felt the dial-up would not have the speed to keep up.
And really, it didn't. They were correct on that. I mean, you kind of needed the broadband, unless you were doing something strange like turn-based or some
strategy-based,
yeah.
Where it would have time to load your responses. Whereas in games mostly on the Xbox, where like first-person shooters, you need that quick reaction time.
Oh, yeah.
Lag will get you killed.
In fact, the better reaction time you have, the better off you are.
Now, we would actually show you what Xbox Live looked like. Unfortunately, we're filming this in 2011. And Microsoft has decided to cut all Xbox One Live support.
That said,
Frowny face.
you still can play some of the PlayStation 2 shooters online, I believe. I could be incorrect about that, but I think
well, they probably
you can.
still have the infrastructure because the way the PlayStation 2 did it was developer based, whereas, as we said with Xbox Live, it's more of an integrated experience. And most of the servers were run through Microsoft, or at least supported by Microsoft.
These endeavors have allowed for much-needed expansion into the UAC's current leading research facility.
Now, also, this is graphically one of the better games on the Xbox. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of dynamic lighting. There's going to be a lot of, well, go ahead and, oh, you have to switch the controls, because you're one of those backwards people, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't understand why it's
down. Use the D-pad?
Oh.
There you go. It's on. Now, another thing that people don't know a lot about with this one is this is actually a reboot of the Doom franchise. It's not actually intended to be a sequel to Doom 2. It's supposed to be a reboot of the entire series. So it kind of gives you a deeper storyline, whereas if you remember the original Doom games weren't really much for story. They kind of just dropped you in and said, hey, kill demons.
yeah.
This was also one of their more successful games, as it sold like 3.5 million copies. As of when we did our research for this, which was a little bit ago, it's still the most successful game to date for them. But Rage hasn't released as of the date of this, so we don't know how that's going to go. Because Rage is looking pretty phenomenal from the previews we've seen. This is also one of those games that was given an expansion pack. So some multiplayer maps and some more campaign. It was called The Resurrection of Evil. You could buy that separately, and as we said, with the hard drive, would be able to play that extra content.
Right.
The Xbox version also has 2-player co-op, which is very nice. Now, I could go into a little bit of the story for Doom 3. In June 2000, John Carmack decided he had planned on making Doom for the next generation. There was kind of like some internal issues about that. Like, there were people that wanted to move forward and make something different. And there were still those people that went, hey, Doom still sells good, why don't we make another one? They didn't want to overdo it, like kind of overpress the license.
Access denied.
But as it was proven very quickly once this game came out, that people were not tired of the Doom license.
True enough.
Now, they also had that same positive reception with Castle Wolfenstein, the Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Right.
So it really hasn't pushed their properties too far. It's not like, for example, the Call of Duty franchise where you see a yearly release.
Right.
I mean, it
Or
puts
like
something out,
the
it's something
Madden.
special, you know? I mean, if you do 1 or 2 games a generation, that's kind of taking the Mario approach, where you still give your fan base exactly what they want, but you don't over-push the license. They decided to go into development right after finishing Quake 3. The Team Arena version. It was also first shown at Macworld, and then at E3 2002. Actually, it won some E3 awards because people were pretty excited when they saw it. Trent Reznor was set to compose the music for Doom 3. However, he wasn't happy with the way that things worked out, so none of his initial sound effects made it into the game. But Chris Verena made the game theme song.
You're not gonna live. It will be painful. You're doomed.
3, rated M for mature. Now on Xbox.